Hello, everyone. So, I was talking to a friend of mine, and that person is actually learning Linux for some time. I think it has been a few months, I guess, and I believe he's happy. He's happy with the progress uh, he has made so far because he is using I believe Ubuntu, if I remember correctly, he told me that he is using Ubuntu as of course the main operating system. He hasn't really completely switched to Linux, but he has been trying it, and I believe he is now able to do a lot of things. Not each and everything, but still a lot of things. And I hope that soon or maybe very soon he will be able to switch to Linux completely as his main operating system. Now, he actually was asking me, Ravi, I do a lot of things on Linux. It has been few months, I guess, and things are good, but I find it difficult to remember different commands or different steps or different things that I have to do to basically solve a problem. For example, maybe you are so he is actually uh, also trying to do web development using, of course, his Ubuntu based laptop where he has installed Ubuntu. And when you're doing web development, you have to install, of course, Apache and you know, depending upon what framework or language you're using, but he is actually using LAMP, so Apache, PHP, MySQL, which is actually standard. So, so these days, if you want to, I mean, there are better ways, or in fact, there are other ways of managing or doing LAMP-based development. You can use Docker, you can use Vagrant. There are so many other ways, but I believe personally that if you do things yourself, in case you're learning something new, I think when you do something yourself and you get your hands dirty by doing things that are fundamentals of that particular domain, for example, in this case, if you are trying to do web development and you have your own setup, then I think you should install Apache yourself, try to learn it. For example, I have been doing web development for I don't know 20 years, and I think ever since I started doing development in Drupal, that was in 2007. I have been I think it was in 2006 or 7 when I first started playing and get when I first started getting my hands dirty with Apache. Apache, to be honest, although I've been doing it for many years now, but even now in 2022, if I have to do some setup of Apache, I always do mistakes. Now, and it is okay. It is okay to do mistakes. It is okay to mess up. But as long as you are able to fix your problem, as long as you're able to figure out where exactly is my log file, if something is not working properly, let us say you try to restart your Apache, but maybe your database, there's something wrong with the database, or maybe your database log is showing you some error which you need to fix. So I think when you're using Linux, it is all about way to do things and how to basically find those files. For example, people when they start using Linux, they don't even know uh, what commands to use. They don't even know where to find those files, how to open those files, how to do simple thing like you know tail, for example, to monitor the log file. So my friend was actually doing all these things for the past few months, but he was struggling to basically remember each and everything. And he was, of course, whenever things go wrong, he he was actually searching online, which is fine. I think you should search online, but what I told him, and it is just a recommendation or a suggestion, which I believe is applicable to all of us. Uh, I think you should, and we all should maintain our own notes. For example, let us say if you're doing Apache setup, right? So when you do Apache setup, of course, you will find some tutorial online and you can follow it, but make your own notes. I still have my notes of the first Apache setup that I did on maybe I guess it was Red Hat. I don't even remember which operating system, but if not Red Hat, I'm sure it was CentOS. I never really used Ubuntu. I have always used CentOS, and all of my notes, all of my material, or whatever things that I have collected so far, different commands, different troubleshooting techniques, different errors. I have my own list. So I have probably like one big file where I keep a list of each and every configuration that I have ever done using Apache. And so first of all, you should make notes and feel free to use any format that you like. Uh, but it should be a text-based format. I mean, don't really use MS Word or Google Docs, because when you have something which is text-based and when you have something which is always accessible on your local computer, then you can quickly search it, you can quickly modify it, you can quickly add on top of it. Maybe you want to, add more lines, or maybe you encountered a new error, or maybe you learned about a new command, or maybe you learned about how not to do things, or maybe you relearn something that you earlier learned, but you now found a better way of doing it. So when you have your own notes, your notes will actually be your guide. So make your own guide, make your own tutorials, and just to share with you, when I so in case you don't know, I have written books, and and I have written books in Jira. And when I wrote my very first book, that very first book of mine was nothing but my notes. So I used to do a lot of Jira consultation. I used to do a lot of trainings, Jira trainings all across India. And I had my own notes, which I built over the years when I was learning Jira, when I was helping uh, my clients and other people uh, to to use or to get the most out of Jira. And and when I had to write the book, it was just a matter of reorganizing or organizing those notes slightly more different, like a bit more. When you talk about a book has to be a bit more organized. Has to be written for someone who will read those notes. So for me, it was not massively difficult to actually write a book, and maybe it is also applicable for a lot of you. In case you're like me, maybe you already have a lot of random notes, and maybe you can just start collecting those notes, and eventually maybe in future you will end up writing your own book. And if and by the way, I know it is a pain to manage a lot of notes, and that is why we have org mode. I have and this is something that I discovered many years ago. I think uh, till 2007 8ish, I guess. I was still doing things heavily using text-based files. So I used to like maintain my own notes.txt. So basically, if I'm doing something with Apache, uh, uh, I would have something like apache.txt, and that would be my notes file. But uh, but of course, then I discovered org mode, and when I discovered org mode, I never really looked back, and I have been using org mode for many years now. Org mode is a wonderful system to let you manage your notes, take notes, and you can do a lot of wonderful things. Like, for example, if I'm doing something with my let us say if I'm doing something with MySQL, right now, or anything that you're doing, it could be a command, it could be a language. Within org mode, there is a concept of not a concept, but there is something called as literate programming. So you can also execute your code snippets or your commands, and it is wonderful. I mean, I don't really use literate programming for each and everything, but if let us say I'm in the middle of a huge document, and if I have to maybe write down, okay, this is a command to check the version, or this is a command to maybe do this or that. And if that particular command is not really doing any changes to my system, I can actually run it from my org file, because it will run, and it will also give you the option to display the output. So maybe if you're making your own notes, you want to see, okay, if you run this command, this would be your output. So you can do that. And that is also one good thing about Linux, uh, because everything is a text file, right? And when everything is a text file, um, it is much more easier to write about it, because you can always create text files on the fly. You can also modify the text files. You can also version control. I mean, uh, you just have to start using it. You just have to start making your own notes. And I highly recommend you to take a look at org mode. And by the way, on my channel, I have like plenty of videos. Uh, I don't even know how many videos, but I have plenty of videos where I have focused on Emacs org mode. And I talk about different things like how to do this, how to do that, how to use org mode for taking meeting minutes, how to use org mode for generating PDF files, and so on. So, so do watch my videos, or maybe just search for it. I know it's a pain to search on YouTube, but I always organize my videos on my website. So if you go to ravisagar.in, you can also search for my videos. All right, that is all. That is all I wanted to talk about today in this video. I hope you enjoyed watching this video and you learned something new. Thank you very much. Bye bye.